We here at Mayhem Media
understand the trials and tribulations of life.
No matter how hard life can get.
Suicide is never the answer.
There's more assistance available today than ever before.
If you or a loved one are suffering from suicidal thoughts, please don't try and take it on alone.
Call or text 988 if you live in the U.S.
Or if you're in Great Britain, call 116123 or text 85258.
The world is a better place with you in it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to After the Dragon. I am your host, JD, and Jedi Theorist is not joining me this week. He was not able to make it, but we'll see him again next week. Real life always has to come first. So, we are going to talk about House of the Dragon, episode 3 on tonight's episode, on this episode, and then, of course, episode 4 airs tonight on HBO. So episode 3, this is after the invasion. Rhaenyra takes over King's Landing. Sorry, I'm also trying to share out the live stream as well. It's always harder when you're by yourself. So Rhaenyra has taken King's Landing, and now we get an episode of her ruling. The combat and everything is pretty much, you know, we've already had some battles. We did have the one standoff with the Hightower host where they gave who we find out is the fake Daeron Targaryen. So leading to my, do I still have the visual? Yes. So this is the real Daeron Targaryen. The other one, the one who was given over, what is not a real Targaryen. He says he dyed his hair. He was compelled to, or they would kill his family. So this is the real Daeron Targaryen. So Daeron Targaryen and his dragon are still on the board then with the Hightowers. So they still have a dragon. Of course, we know Aemond. We didn't actually get to see Aemond in this past episode, so we know he was stabbed, and that's all we know so far. But Vhagar and Aemond are still on the board. Also, potentially question marks, but I don't think Aemond's actually going to die from that wound. It seems a little too, I don't think so. So them getting the fake Daeron and still having the dragon. And then we find out at the end of the episode that they took Tumbledore or something. I can't remember the name of the city. It was a weird, I think it's a small village. So they infiltrated the city and took it over from the inside, which is interesting because that means the Hightowers are not fighting just with conventional means where, they would surround the city, put it under siege, and then either take it over by force or have them yield the castle and city to them. They infiltrated it and took it over from the inside. We find that out from one of the dragon handlers. Now, I'm not familiar with Tumbledore or the name of the town that they took over. I'm not familiar with it, and I did not have time. I've had a real busy week. I have not had time to even look it up to see what that is. So I will have to do that. We'll have to talk about that in the next episode, and I'm sure we'll find out some more information in tonight's House of the Dragon episode. So I'm not sure about that, but they've taken something and it had dragon handlers in it. And we know that the small dragon was taken inside the city with the Hightower host and everything. They officially have it, and they have the dragon in there with them. So that's the other thing that happened at the end of it. Now, through most of this, we see Rhaenyra ruling. She's had to conquer the city. She's had to plan with her dragon riders and everything else. Of course, the battle that she didn't get for the Narrow Sea, which was basically almost an even wash. The Free City Navy was destroyed, but pretty much so was the Valyrian fleet was also destroyed. The dragons, they lost one, so they're down a dragon. That's Team Black. That's House Black, Rhaenyra and Daemon. So they're down another dragon and another heir. As this is her 3 oldest kids. The 2 youngest ones we haven't really seen on camera other than just as infants and stuff yet. I will make another visual and add them with it. And also, these are the 3 that were born by Lord Strong during her first marriage to Laenor Velaryon, the Sea Snake's eldest, the Sea Snake's son. I don't think he was eldest. I think they were twins, but the Sea Snake's son, even though it's illegitimate, they're really Lord Strong's kids. These 3 belong to Lord Strong. So Joffrey, the youngest, is the last of the Lord Strong children. And then she has 2 of her own with Daemon. I believe that's Viserys II. And did she take the name Aegon too? I can't remember what her other 2 kids' name. One is Viserys for sure, the youngest, and then of course the last kid that she had in that scene where she didn't get to keep it. That was actually a girl, and she did name her, but I don't know. I don't have that information in front of me at the moment either. So with them being down another dragon rider, they still command the dragon fleet at this point, if you want to call it that. I mean, there's 6 of them yet, so you can definitely still call them that, especially with the 3 additional riders that they've received. They still have command, and now they have King's Landing, and they have Alicent and Helena, which means that Helena and her dragon are now off the board, more so than they were, because she's not a warrior. It's unlikely that we see her ride the dragon. Maybe we might see her dragon do something, but I don't know if she'll be on it or how that'll work. I honestly don't see that. She doesn't seem like someone who could actually hurt somebody or even be a part of it. So Helena and Alicent are held captive. They're being treated, they're being put in a room. They're not like in a cell or being locked away or anything, but they are prisoners of King's Landing. They couldn't get out of the city in time. We didn't see Aegon, I don't think, in this last episode, if memory serves. So we know that he was caught and that they're going to be taken to Queen Rhaenyra, but we don't know where or anything like that. So maybe I assume we'll find that out tonight. That'll be something that we find out in tonight's episode, is where Aegon might be. And hopefully we'll find out about Aemond as well. I expect this one to be a heavy Team Green episode with the High Towers. Like I said, the last episode was very much Rhaenyra ruling now. She's conquered. Now she's ruling. Now she's learning that that they took the money out of the vaults. There's no food still in the city because of her blockade. And she also finds out that the rich are hoarding all of the resources. So this takes us to the scene where she invites some of the noble houses, some of the higher up, probably some of the most powerful houses in the city. And she brings them to a royal dinner where she feeds them the stuff that the poorest among the city have been eating. And while they're at that dinner, she has either her city watch, I believe it's her city watch, emptying their houses and their vaults of their food, basically taking their food. Listen, I'm definitely not much for hoarding. I think hoarding, everybody does it when the city's under trouble. Everybody's going to look out for themselves, so that's going to happen. Taking from them and giving to everybody else, we're not going to get too much into that either, but I don't know if that's a good move. Sure, the masses will love you, but if she has the powerful families of the city plotting against her, that will not help her either. So they've really got to watch out from that. I have a fly in my face right now. You might be able to see it on camera occasionally, but he keeps flying right in my face. So we'll see how that goes. She's already having trouble in the city now that she's ruling it, and it's not just conquering it. With Daeron not being handed over. The Hightowers have taken the other city. They're moving against them. So this could be a very busy episode. And I'd also like to point out here that we're going into episode 4 of this season. So we're about to be halfway through the season, and there is only one more season left of this series. It was only intended to be a 4-season series. So we're getting, we're past halfway now, and things are going to start picking up. There's still lots of dragon riders and lots of dragons on the battlefield that'll have to be dealt with before this completely comes to an end. And at this point, I mean, we know that they're off the books in significant ways. Will the ending be off book? I really don't know where the ending is going to go. I could talk about where it might be based on the books, but we don't know where it's going to be for the show, and I don't want to give too many spoilers away anyway, so we're not going to speculate on that. The other scene that I want to talk about is how Rhaenyra did not legitimize Lord Corlys's kids. They're still Hulls, not Valerians. And Lord Corlys and her have an exchange, and I think this is another mistake by Rhaenyra, okay? So I think that Rhaenyra is already making crucial mistakes after taking the city. I do understand and agree with her commandeering what she needs in terms of resources so that the city isn't starving to death. Declaring martial law is something that can be absolutely necessary when the time comes for it, and her just taking over, learning what everything is, absolutely. Whatever the Game of Thrones version of martial law is, do whatever, redistribute the food and stuff so people aren't starving. I understand that. But her not legitimizing Lord Corlys's kids on top of that other error, whether it's an error she couldn't avoid or not, the error with Lord Corlys could have been avoided. She should have absolutely legitimized them. I don't care what her excuse is. Lord Corlys is her strongest ally, and he has lost his entire house for her to get the throne. He has lost his wife and all of his heirs except for the 2 daughters of Daemon, Laena and Lana, or is it Laena and Rhaena Valerian. They are the only heirs he has left. They're Daemon's kids with Lord Corlys's daughter. So other than those 2, he's basically lost his house. He doesn't have any other surviving members. Remember the final scene with them after the sea battle, and having all his legitimate granddaughter and his 2 bastard sons next to him. That is the Valerian family. That's all that's left of the Valerian family. So her not legitimizing Lord Corlys's sons is a huge error, a huge mistake. And Lord Corlys called her out on it, and I was glad for him. I was shocked that she didn't just end up taking his head the way she's been acting lately. Oh, you question me, you're dead. But so she didn't do that, which I credit her. But yeah, not legitimizing Lord Corlys's sons, that is a huge error on Rhaenyra's part, and that is going to come back and haunt her. Definitely, in some way, that will come back, because there's no legitimate reason for her not to legitimize his sons as his sons. There's absolutely no reason for it. I can't see a reason. If you could think there's a reason, leave a comment, whether you're watching this live or later, leave a comment as to why you think Lord Corlys or why Rhaenyra did not legitimize Lord Corlys's sons. And her excuse in the show was just preposterous. I don't buy that at all. She's concerned about image. I can't buy that stuff. And I agree with Lord Corlys's argument completely. He completely backed her, even though everybody around him was telling him that they're not, whether he believed it or not. It appears maybe he did actually believe it, but chose to just doesn't matter. This is the way it is. And for her not to back him the same way is a betrayal. And if she doesn't in this episode or very soon, then Lord Corlys will no longer be her strongest ally. I'm convinced of that. Let's see. What else did I want to discuss? I don't think there's anything else on there that I really wanted to talk about. Oh, yeah, there was one more thing. I saw some memes posting about how Rhaenyra got her period, and people were complaining, why did we need to see that? Why did we need to have that? I don't have a problem with it. I guess I don't even know that I understand what other people had a problem with it. Yeah, but it's a gross thing. But in shows, I think it adds to the realism if you show them, and then the nasty stuff of life too. Remember Tyrion got killed his father sitting on the toilet. You know what I mean? So if you weren't complaining about that, then why are you complaining about Rhaenyra and her period? And I think it went with the episode. The whole episode around her part was framed about how she's got a rule now. It's not just plotting and military strategy and protecting this or going after this place. She has King's Landing. When you have King's Landing, that makes you the queen. So you have to start ruling as queen. So this whole episode was about her ruling and her having to rule with all the other stuff that she has to deal with. And I think that that's absolutely something that should have been shown and showcased. I don't have a problem with it at all. It didn't seem to affect me the way it did some of the other people online. Of course, you know how people online are. We talked about that before. They just like to complain. And I don't expect that many people actually had a problem with it. But I definitely didn't. I think it just went to show that all that she's got to have to deal with now that she's a ruler and not just plotting and with her war council. Sorry about that, everybody. I'm getting a call or something. We're live right now, so we're gonna finish. I'm gonna finish off this episode, and then I will check. Hopefully, my phone will stop ringing before I get to the end. So I'm gonna close this episode out. I don't think there's anything else that I wanted to address in this episode. I think in tonight's House of the Dragon episode, we are going to see a lot of stuff happen. We'll see what's going on with Darren, I think. And of course, will there be more ruling? Will Aemond go after her and the other Dragon Riders? Tonight's going to be a really good episode. So let's check that out tonight on HBO, and then tune in next Saturday at hopefully 3:00 or 3:30. Actually, it'll be 3:30 for next week's episode of After the Dragon, where we will talk about tonight's episode. So thank you anybody who tuned in on this thing that I had to piece together, and I appreciate it very much. Please leave comments and check out the storefront, bonfire.com/store/Mayhem Media Shop, and pick up some apparel, please. I'm wearing my own variant this evening of the Mayhem Media logo. All the variants, everybody's variants, from Wolfman's to Connors, the Diamonds, everybody's got their own variant. Remember the Diamond Cartel apparel, we sell it exclusively on our storefront. So go check that out as well. Thank you very much. And until then, I am your host, the bad guy, JD, and that's the end.